So again, family, in this question we are considering today who founded China and who founded the Shang Dynasty. Let's go back over these points in review. Point number one, as we covered in part one of our video here, the mythical legend of Si. He was the founder of the Shang lineage. He was conceived when his mother, Shang, swallowed an egg dropped by a bird. And the bird was called Su Niao, which means in Chinese, blackbird. So interesting that the founder of the Shang lineage was conceived when his mother swallowed an egg dropped by a blackbird, Swan Niao. This is according to the Chinese mythical legend. This is their legend. Very interesting. Point number two, in the Book of Songs, which is a collection of songs that was collected in the time of Confucius, the founder of the Shang lineage, Emperor Si, he is also called by another name. He's also called, get a picture of him, Emperor Si here. Here he is. His mother swallowed an egg and he was conceived. He also went by another name. He was called Swan Wang, which means in Chinese, the Black King. Point number three, talking about the Yellow River. The Yellow River was called by the Mongolians in ancient times the Black River. And the source of the Yellow River, according to the records of the Grand Historian in Scroll 123, Emperor Wu sent men out to try to find the source of the Yellow River. His men came back to him. In fact, we have a picture of Emperor Wu. There it is right here. This is off of Wikipedia here. This is Emperor Wu dispatching, it says this is in the public domain. He's dispatching I can't pronounce these names, Zhang Owen to Central Asia from 138 to 126 BCE to the Mogao Caves. And so Emperor Wu, as I said, he was of the Han Dynasty, which was a little bit later, way past the time of the Shang Dynasty. But here is a mural that they found in a cave of him, of Emperor Wu. So anyway, it's in the public domain here. But Zhang Wu, he sent men out to try to find the source of the Yellow River. These men came back to him and said that it came from a mountain, and the name of the mountain that they called it the Kunlun Mountains. And as I mentioned, Kunlun is a Chinese word that means a dark-skinned person or an African. And I covered that in chapter 4 in my book. And then, of course, we have point number 5. Both the Yellow River and the Kunlun Mountains in Chinese folklore are the ancestral birthplaces of the ancient Chinese nation. So isn't that interesting that the birthplace of the ancient Chinese nation comes from a mountain called Kunlun, which means a dark-skinned person or an African, and also from the Yellow River, which was also called the Black River by the Mongolians. Very, very interesting. But you know, there's something else that I learned in doing this video here that I want to share with you, friends. I learned something new. I want to share it with you here. Let's see here. Where would I start? Let's start with this here. The Shang Dynasty. When did the Shang Dynasty start? Well, we have various sources and sites here on Google. Let's go to the History Channel. They're saying here that the Shang Dynasty was between 1600 to 1046 BCE. Let's take another one. We have the Encyclopedia Britannica. They're saying it was from, that's from the Xia Dynasty. But the Shang Dynasty, let's go to Khan Academy. They're saying that around 1760 BCE. Let's take another one, the World History Encyclopedia. They're saying that the Shang Dynasty was between 1600 to 1046 BCE. Let's see, Stanford University. They're saying the same thing, 1600 to 1050 BCE. So we get the point, roughly around in that time frame between 1600, 1050, or 1046. Here's another one, the Smithsonian. They're saying 1600 to 1050. And so I think we got the point there. Various websites there that are putting the Shang Dynasty between 1600 to, let's just say, 1046 BCE. But I learned something new. If you take the book of Exodus, which was the second scroll of the Pentateuch, or referred to as the second book of Moses, known in Hebrew as Shemot, which means names, it was written in 1512 BCE, a year after the Israelites departed from Egypt and camped in the wilderness of Sinai. The book thus covers a period of 145 years from Joseph's death in 1657 BCE to the construction of the tabernacle in 1512. So what I learned is that the time period that Moses covers in the book of Exodus, this 145 years from the time of Joseph's death in 1657 to the time of the construction of the tabernacle in 1512, this was during the time of the Shang Dynasty. Remember, we said the Shang Dynasty was from 1600 to 1046. Some of these different websites here that mention this, the World History Encyclopedia, the Stanford University, the Smithsonian. So Moses was writing this during the time that the Shang Dynasty was still functioning and the Israelites were not slaves in the time of when they were in Egypt. Because, again, Moses covers a time period from when Joseph died, and we know they were not slaves at the time that Joseph died because Joseph was made second in command to Pharaoh. Remember that. So isn't that interesting? I just learned that today. And also the book of Job, which also was written by Moses. He wrote that in the year 1473 when Israel came near the land of Uz on their way to the promised land in 1473. It says here that Moses could have had access to the facts about Job's trial and about his story. And so Moses wrote the book of Job. So very interesting. The book of Exodus and the book of Job both covered, Moses was living during the time of the Shang Dynasty is basically what I'm trying to say. And very interesting at a time when he covers the time when the Israelites, the Hebrews, were in Egypt and before they became slaves. So very interesting there. So I wanted to share that with you, friends. And so in conclusion, who founded China? Who founded the Shang Dynasty? Well, friends, besides these points that we've covered in this video, there's also the DNA that answers that question. And in my book, I cover this also in chapter 4, that there was a DNA test that was done in 2005, a Chinese DNA test that was conducted. There was over 12,000 DNA samples taken from 165 different Asian ethnic groups. And you know what the test concluded? The test concluded that China was founded by Africans. You can read it in my book. You can Google this up. 2005, a Chinese DNA test that was done. So, friends, keep that in mind. Very interesting information. And we just want to we're just putting facts out. We're just putting facts out. And so let's keep these things in mind, friends. All right. Y'all be safe. We'll catch you next time again when we'll have a very interesting discussion on another topic in regards to genealogy, history, Hebrews, you name it. We're going to cover all of it here. So until next time, friends, y'all stay safe.